Hey there, I'm Greg with Science K Models and More. Uh, just wanted to talk a little bit about a situation I ran into with a model that I had 3D printed. Sometimes, I'm not going to say it lacks detail, but sometimes the model just doesn't have all the parts that you want. And one of the great things about 3D printing is the ability to create your own parts that are missing from either the out of the box kit or parts that are, in this case was a downloaded file. Like I said, it was a great file. But one of the things that I thought was just visually missing from the engine compartment was the brake master cylinder. Is 65 Plymouth Barracuda. So it had just a single piston, uh, easy for me to say, single piston brake master cylinder. And so as you can see behind me here that um, I ended up sketching one out in Fusion, exporting it out and printing those parts. So I'm going to kind of take you through that process and what it takes to do this, and just to show some people this side of the hobby that may not be familiar with it. Here you can see the car with the engine installed. Uh, Without the master cylinder, it doesn't have the battery, the hoses. There's still some details missing here, but you know, it just feels like it needs that brake master cylinder. I'm going to put up a copy or a picture, sorry, of the actual one-to-one car that I'm replicating, so you can kind of see where the brake master cylinder goes and kind of how this all comes together. This is the actual engine, a photo of it that I was replicating, and here's the brake master cylinder that we're dealing with. It just is a pretty simple single piston master cylinder, uh, stock version of it for this car. And I wanted to add that to my firewall and didn't have the part, so I set about making one. As I said before, I did this in Fusion, which is it's a free app to get, like a basic copy of it. There are some functions in the Pro that you don't get in the free, but for most hobbyists, free is plenty. I did want to point out too, a big shout out to Chris Bell with the scale scale speed garage. Sorry, Chris, had a little brain fade there. Scale speed garage, Chris Bell. Without Chris, um, I really, I don't know. I wouldn't be where I'm at with this. So the next step in this was to open up Fusion, which is it's an AutoCAD product it's a free for the basic, and then if you want more than basic you have to pay for the pro version, but for hobbyists the free version is plenty. I did want to point out also uh, that thanks to Scale Speed Garage and Chris Bell teaching us during some lessons on Scale Speed Garage to subscribers, that you get. I mean, it's pretty amazing. He offers up free lessons to us to learn how to draw parts in Fusion. And if it weren't for those lessons, there's no way I could have built this part to have for my model that I wanted. Anyway, so here it is in Fusion. I'm going to play a loop of the design process. It may or may not make a whole lot of sense to you, but it kind of shows you the logic in how the program works. just like a really high level how the program works, and shows you, a loop of, or a video of the kind of my building process of this part. It's not completely accurate to the stock part, but at 1/25th scale, I don't think it's gonna really matter too much. And then, this is it getting created. Next, here's a picture of it on the build plate after I've saved the file out from Fusion. I put it on the build plate for my printer. Then I send it to the printer. Here's some of the printed parts. The printed parts are, pretty tiny. The master cylinder is 4 millimeters across to get it, in scale. And then here is a picture of it painted up before installing it. I did make the lid and the body of the master cylinder 2 separate parts because I thought it would be good to be able to paint the lid a different color than the body, and it's just it just pins together to glue it together. So that part makes the assembly easier. So just some things to think about when you're designing parts. Then the next thing will be the master cylinder installed in the car. I did leave some open holes in the ends where the attached, what do I want to say, where where the lines attach to it. I left some, holes open so I could attach brake lines to it. And I just ran those brake lines down the firewall. And, here's a picture of the completed engine bay with the hoses, the radiator, and, the wires off of the battery, and also the brake master cylinder that I designed and printed. So there's a lot of satisfaction in designing parts you don't have and putting them into a model. I just thought it would be good to hop on and show what the process is like. It's not, once you have a grasp on the CAD software, you can start dreaming up parts to build, and it's a neat part of the hobby that is kind of up and coming. Obviously, there's tons of people that created print 3D parts for models anymore, but it still feels new to me, and it's a neat thing to be able to do. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody, and go check out Scale Speed Garage. I'll put a link to Scale Speed Garage in the description of this video. And like I said, everybody have a great day. Take care, and goodbye.